speaking of Rock Vegas, the track map came out for Rock Vegas. We actually got to see that last week, came out right near the end of the week. And we knew that it was going to be pretty similar from what we had talked to with Garrett Potter and the Rock Cup crew. They're going to try and keep it the same. They're on a bigger lot this year since they're running between Bally's, Planet Hollywood, and one more resort casino. I can't remember, but properly on the strip. They've lengthened the straightaways from years past. In fact, we've got also a track map from 2018 to 2020 that they ran with the Rock Cup layout. And that one, if we switch over to it, you can see had originally a chicane on that longer straightaway, had a little bit shorter chutes in between each hairpin. So if we take a look at the old layout, you can see they've updated it, but they've pretty much kept the main concept of what the track looks like the same from the last few years until this new one. You can see they've removed that chicane. And then they've lengthened the straightaways from corner to corner. Now, Connor and Brandon and Paulie and Ryan have all actually run that layout in years past. So, Brandon and Paulie, you guys only ran it last year. Connor, I'm pretty sure you run it, Connor, or have you not? I can't remember actually now.
I did like 2018 or 2019 maybe.
Yeah, one of the earlier ones. So
yeah,
we'll pull that layout out here. Ryan, we'll give you first dibs on it since we missed you last week. Have you talk about what you thought on the layout and the new layout now that seeing it come out for the first time?
I mean, I think the comments on Facebook kind of speak for themselves. I mean, the problem that I have is that the problems with the previous track, I don't think were really addressed. The straightaways were too long before. In the GP, you're on the limiter out of the little chicane that they had, and you run the limiter the whole straightaway because you're just preparing for those hairpins. And so it makes the racing like super hard because you can't pass on the straightaway. You just have to dive bomb somebody. And so having that even longer, I think is frustrating because, I mean, even in years past, the KAs were faster than the GPs at the end of the straightaway. Like it was just frustrating. You know, it's not built around the power band at all. And then again, they've simplified the layout even further, which is more frustrating because the layout before was already too simple. It was really frustrating before because everybody's just quick and there's no real skill level separation between drivers. So you add that with a very low grip racetrack, and it doesn't allow for a lot of fun racing. It's fun to watch because everybody's stacked up and is crashing constantly. I think Brandon could talk about the layout from the previous year and how he just got nailed into the wall. And that's basically how you have to race there is if somebody wants to go by you, just put him in the wall. And so I don't know. I'm frustrated with it because a longer straight sounds worse. The racing doesn't look like it's been improved much, you know, the way the track's been laid out. The only thing that is good is it seems like the hairpins are separated by a further amount. So that possibly could lead into, you know, a little better of a race. But the problem with the GPs is the bottom end is not strong enough to really pass somebody off corner when they're blocking. And that's again where it's frustrating is they're not really playing to the engine that they have. Like they have an engine that's super strong in the mid range, so you should keep it in that power band. You should keep it around where we can attack people. You know, we're in the power, not where somebody makes a mistake, you're just stuck behind them for the next few corners.
And building off that, Brandon, last year for you and Paulie, first time on the layout, on the old layout. This one's going to be new. Do you know if you guys are going to Rock Vegas again this year to run, or are you just going to be running maybe Super Nats?
Right now, my plan is just to run Super Nats. I'll be in Vegas for the Rock working, but that's it. As far as the track layout goes, like going off what Ryan was saying, you can just protect the bottom so much. And like happened to me last year, we were in the heat race and it was like a 10-lap heat race, and we went like 8 laps. Just fine. I kind of got tired of it, so I tried making some outside moves work and just got pushed into the barriers and kind of ended my weekend. So I didn't really enjoy the racing there last year, so that kind of played into my decision of why I wasn't going to race this year. And I mean, they kind of just made the track way more simple than it was last year, and kind of like what Ryan said, it brings the field way closer together. And with the way the motor is, the closer the field is in Rock, the more aggressive driving there is. And yeah, that's basically it.
Well, let's take that here. I wanted to also give a little bit of shout out and time to longtime viewer Philip Niemkowicz here and supporter of KC Happy Hour. He's been on the show for a good bit. And he actually submitted this to me this morning. He was reaching out to the ROK Cup officials. Obviously, unfortunately, when you get to be within about a month out from the race, it's a little bit too late to try and suggest changes. But I thought these layouts that he came up with, these alternate layouts, Philip's got a background in helping track design. He actually helped a good bit with one track out west where he's at. And so you can see in some of these sections that, to me, what always was the biggest issue, and like what Brandon and Ryan just touched on there with the ROK Power Band, is that all the passing zones were really in those 3 switchback hairpins and then going into the final sector. And so you had to block like back-to-back corners. You wouldn't be able to pass in one corner and then have a technical kind of single file or non-passing section to get away from the driver that you just went by. So if you didn't block, he was going to dive bomb you back. And it worked out, especially in like mid-pack racing, because if you get dive bomb back, then another guy goes and another guy goes. And if you play too nice or go to the outside, you either get barriered or you fall back about another 5 spots. So you can see even on like, V2 variation 2, he's kind of got a double apex left-hander where it would have been that first of the switchback hairpins. So that would have been a little tougher, probably a shorter braking zone to go into. And then it opens back up to a pretty good passing zone in that long right, but then you've still got to get out of it. And then the same thing on some of the other variations. There's just a few more bends to give it a little bit more character, make it a little bit more technical. We'll see how technical it'll be too, because we don't really know what the surface is going to look like till we get on it. Ryan brought up a really good point right before we got on air that when they had temporary races in Florida in years past, there were some tracks that looked like they'd be really, really smooth, and they were not smooth at all. Paulie, I'll give it over to you and Connor as well. But Paulie, you first from last year. You were kind of up and down through the field in your first ROK Cup race. What are you going to be in there this year? Have you figured it out yet?
I actually didn't go last year. I got super sick, so I didn't go.
Okay.
But no, I'm not that track doesn't look like it's too great. I don't like all the hairpins, the switchbacks. I don't like that. I feel like they could have done a little bit more with like the track creation, but like I agree with both what Brandon and Ryan said, and I don't know, it just doesn't seem like it's too technical, and I kind of wish they switched it up a little bit. But no, I will not be going because I'm not a fan of the ROK racing. So
something else that I think they should have done is just like shrink that straightaway. Like if you just run a smaller straightaway, we don't have to stack, like don't have to drop the teeth so low, and so then you actually will have like some competition off corner. It would just like, that's what's frustrating is like they're playing so not into their engine package. They have the most powerful engine in all of American karting, like the most powerful tag engine, and they choose to play to the worst characteristics of the engine. No top and no bottom. It's like play to that mid-range. You have a great mid-range. You'd have such a fast track. Everybody would love it. It'd be super hard if you played to the mid-range. But they're just doing stop and go drag races, which is the least fun thing to do in a ROK engine.
Well, while we've got obviously our pro go-karters here, Will, I want to put it to you, and I also want to give have you give maybe your thoughts on what you think would be at least your favorite layout of those options that our buddy Philip put out on the track, because you've got tons of racing experience. And Billy, I'll let you pick yours out too and kind of give a little bit why before we move on into this weekend. So I'll pull that back up again and give you a chance to take a look at it, and you can kind of break down for it as a guy who's got a lot of experience, more than all of us, obviously, driving a race car, driving a go-kart, because some of these layouts, I mean, there's definitely some interesting pieces to each one.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just listening to these guys, I hear what they're saying about, where the power is of the engine, and, they know a lot better than I do as far as what makes a good kart track. So, but I'm like, I always think like Ryan, like the more technical the track, the better, because it puts the driver so much more into it. When you build a simple track, it stacks everyone up and you can't make the difference yourself. So I'm always like really big, I've always pushed for rules in IndyCar that make it harder to drive, like less downforce and that sort of thing. So I'm definitely would go for like the most technical tracks. Some of these ones with, let's say version 2. Yeah, I'd go, whatever the most technical track is, honestly. What's that? I don't even know what's that one. Version 2. I'm getting old now, so I can't actually. That's the first thing that goes. It sucks. You have to start holding like when you read something far away. But yeah, whatever's technical, puts a driver into it. I think that always it makes good racing. But it just to me, it's all about the technicality of it. That's what I love about motorsport is when you've got to put it all together really well. So yeah.